Hey, this is Matthew Rix, and today on the Music Business Newsletter, we got an email from an indie artist who wants to know how do they compete with the major artist and AI artist. But before we dive into that, if you do not subscribe to this channel, there's like 68% of you who watch these videos who aren't subscribed. Go ahead and subscribe. We do fun music business stuff here, all right? And if you have a comment on this video you'd like for me to see, or if you agree or disagree, just leave it below. And if you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, just go to MatthewRix.com, click submit your question, give me as many details as possible, and we will answer it here on the channel. Now for the email. He says, "Hey Matthew, I am honestly writing this because I don't know who else to ask and I figured I'd come to you." Well, thank you for that. Always come first to me. Always. That's what I tell everybody. He says, "I'm an independent artist trying to build something real over here, but the more I look around, the more I feel like the entire playing field is stacked against people like me." Who are people like you? Are you a Bandcamp bro? Okay. Do you hate Spotify and you just have thousands of your music on vinyl laying around your bedroom? We'll find out. He says, "I don't have a record label. I don't have a team. I don't have a budget that stretches beyond whatever I can save from my day job." So you sound like an artist. You sound like an up-and-coming artist. He says, "Meanwhile, I'm supposed to compete with artists who have million-dollar marketing budgets, teams posting content for them every day, full production crews making their videos, massive platforms where even their worst posts gets more views than my entire account, and the ability to perform in front of tens to 30,000 people every night. One arena show gives a major artist more exposure in a single evening than I can get an entire year of grinding online." Where do we begin with this one? What a way to start a Monday. You don't have a label. You don't have a team. You don't have a budget that stretches beyond whatever I can save from my day job. I mean, you're an artist. Okay. Everybody, even most, unless they're an industry plant, most of the artists that you're trying to compare yourself to started exactly here. And they built something from the ground up and they went from there. Okay. $1 million marketing budgets. I'm going to be honest with you, unless you're like T Swift, not a lot of artists have $1 million marketing budgets anymore. There's not enough revenue coming in from streaming, but I understand what you're saying. They have more of a marketing budget than what you can donate to your music from your day job. I get that. Teams posting content for them every day. Yes, there are management companies who they basically handle all the social media. The good artists are the ones who live their lives on social media, and you can see kind of a sneak peek of them driving in the car, hanging out with their kids in the studio, whatever. That doesn't require a team. He says, full production crews making their videos, massive platforms where even their worst post gets more views than my entire account. But how do they get to the massive platform? They had every Instagram account, every single one, I don't care who it is, started with 0. And then it went from there. Now, some of them announced they were on Instagram and 3 million people flocked to it in an hour. But they all started at 0. And the reason why these artists get, more views on their worst posts than your entire account is because they have more followers. More people know who they are. I can post a video and Mr. Beast can post a video and he's going to do 10,000% of what I'm going to do. Why? He's got a bigger platform. It's just the way it is. Like, is it fair? Sure, because everybody started at 0. Everybody started with 0 subscribers on YouTube. Everybody started at the bare bottom in this industry, and they rose to the top, unless they're an industry plant or a Nepo baby or whatever. We've all started at the exact same spot. The ability to perform in front of 10 to 30,000 people every night. I mean, look, you know how many openers over the years have had the opening spot on an arena tour? and nobody knows who they are. That's the go get your beverage artist. That's the go stand in the merch line artist. That's the, a lot of times with these bigger arena shows, if you're an artist that, everyone's like, I have no clue who it is. They don't even turn the house lights off for it. Or if they do, the lights don't move. They just, they're just positioned right there. And a lot of those artists, they got bought on a tour and nothing ever happened. He says one arena show gives major artists more exposure in a single evening than I can get in an entire year of grinding online, but they're major artists. Most of these artists had to grind it out in the beginning. At some point in their life, they had to grind it out. He says, it honestly feels insane when I try to compare what I'm doing to what the industry giants are doing. Why are you comparing yourself to an industry giant? If you are 350 pounds and you're like, I'm going to go to the gym, you can't sit there and compare your workout to what, The Rock does. I see this all the time with people coming in the music industry. Like, you'll have people who are like, well, when you were 18, you were doing this. And it's like, don't compare. We have two different stories. We have two different backstories. We have two different families. You can't compare yourself to don't compete with major artists. Compete with what your very best can be. He continues, but now there's another thing making all this even harder. I'm not just competing with big artists anymore. I'm competing with AI artists too. And that's the part that's really starting to eat at me. Artists, since the beginning of time, since they've been creating music and putting it on the radio and putting it on vinyl, love to find the new boogeyman. Spotify, AI, major record labels. It's just what it is. Like, there's always a new boogeyman. There's always a new villain hanging around the corner waiting to destroy you. AI is not your competition. AI is not. Because here's why. AI can't beat you. Can it create better sounding music than you? Yes. Can they turn it out faster? Yes. But they can't beat you. And here's why they can't beat you. Fans will never have a personal emotional connection with a robot. But if you do your job right, and you bring people in and you build a story with however many followers you have on Instagram, and you build that personal emotional connection with them, AI can't do that. If you write a song based on your struggles, your fears, your loss, your lack, whatever it is, AI can't compete with telling that same story because it's not real to AI, but it is real to you. He says, at least with human artists, I can accept the advantages. You just started off the email telling me all the reasons why you can't accept the advantages. Massive budgets, video production. They're playing in front of 30,000 people a night. Now you're saying you can't accept it. Which one is it, my guy? He says, I can accept the advantages, money, teams, connections. I get that. I don't like it, but I understand it. But how am I supposed to compete with something that never gets tired, never needs a budget, can drop unlimited songs without burnout, doesn't need studio time, doesn't need visuals, doesn't need photo shoots, doesn't need years of practice, and can be replicated endlessly? That is a lot of bullet points. It's like you want me to come on here and just be like, you know what? Give it up. Go work at Chipotle. Shout out to Chipotle. I love you a lot. But that's what I think you want me to do. How can you compete with something that never gets tired, that never needs a budget? You still need a budget to market AI songs. There's tons of AI songs out there that have less than 1,000 plays on Spotify. Like, they need a budget still. Can drop unlimited songs without burnout. Talk to a rapper. Those guys, an indie rap artist can release a song every single day. It is amazing how much inspiration a lot of those artists have. But who cares? All of this stuff, studio time, unlimited songs, budget, visuals, years of practice that can be replicated easily. All of this stuff doesn't matter if you as an artist do the one thing AI and a major label artist can't compete with. And that is your personal connection. I'm going to say it the entire time in this video. If someone follows you, you should be going to their profile, looking at it, sending them a DM. Not a DM with your links. Not a DM trying to sell them your tickets to your show. But a DM is like, hey, thanks for following me. I went to your page and I saw that you love Coke Zero. I love Coke Zero too. Isn't it better than Pepsi Zero? AI can't do that. The major artist who's playing in front of 30,000 people a night isn't going to do that. That's your advantage. But it takes time. It takes drive. Because let me tell you, the more that you start interacting with people, the more they're going to interact with your post. The more the algorithm's going to kick you up. He says, it feels like I'm running a marathon barefoot while the major artists are on bikes and the AI artists are in rocket ships. You're just like, what? Okay. Do you want me to tell you the game is rigged against indie artists? I'm not. I'm not going to. Because this time in music, more than ever before, and sorry to the Bandcamp bros, Spotify has helped artists. Streaming services have helped artists. 25 years ago, you were an independent artist, you had a CD, and you had to sell it. Good luck. Anybody over the world was able to hear your music. Good luck. It wasn't going to happen. You know, we just got the Spotify Wrap. And thank you to everybody who listened to the Matrix Minute. There's 166 countries that listen to the Matrix Minute in 2025. 166. If I was on CDs, if the internet wasn't at my disposal, that would be a number of maybe 2, US and Canada. Or Australia. The Australians love me. And I love you too, Australia. You're not running a marathon barefoot while the artist is on bikes and rocket ships. Like, I mean, if you spent this much time connecting and building with people that follow you, you would start to see your numbers go up. Now, if you just throw music on Spotify, if you just throw music on Bandcamp, and you don't really interact with people, you just wait for the likes to come in, and that's it. You don't really do any reaching out. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. It's just the way it is. But let's continue. He says, and look, I'm not asking for shortcuts. Yes, you are. I'm not trying to whine. Yes, you are. I'm not pretending I'm owed anything. Yes, you are. I'm just trying to figure out if this whole thing is still realistic for someone like me. Well, if you're going to sit on your butt and complain about the robots and complain about the major artists who are doing 30,000 people a night, and you're running barefoot and you ain't got a big marketing budget to make music videos or whatever, then yeah, it's not going to be realistic for you. It's just the way it is. I hate to tell you the truth, but you know. But if you want to put the time, if you want to put the effort into building emotional connections, to have people actually know who you are, feel your soul, feel the music, feel why you do what you do, AI can't compete with that. And those people will be able to message you. Those people will be able to leave comments and you'll reply. No artist playing 30,000 people a night is going to do that. Very rarely. That's your advantage right there. He goes, so here's what I need to know. How do independent artists actually compete for fans when we don't have massive budgets? You build personal emotional connections with your fans. If somebody follows you, you send them a original direct message, no links, no selling, original direct message about something that's on their profile. I don't do it on my accounts anymore. And the reason why I don't do it is because it actually backfired on me when you're talking to artists. Because you're like, hey, yo, what's up? I see you like baseball. Like, I'm a huge White Sox fan. I got the White Sox tattoo. And they're like, oh, that's cool. Here's my link. Check it out. And I don't. And then they get mad and they get butthurt, you know. And then they just keep blowing me up. But a regular music fan would love to hear from you if they're following you as an artist. Would love to. He says, how do we stand out when we can't play huge shows or buy exposure? Everybody in the classroom say it with me. Build a personal, emotional connection with people. It out-trumps arena shows every single day. Every day. He says, how do we survive in a world where AI artists can pump out music nonstop? Build a personal, emotional connection with everybody that you come in contact with. Everybody in contact who listens to your music should be able to walk away. If they followed you on Instagram, they followed you on TikTok, they followed you on Facebook, God forbid if you're on X or any of those other ones, and they should be able to be like, well, that was pretty cool. I got a message from him. That guy paused his life to send me a message. Because here's the thing. I'm going to share some with you. And we did a ton of research on this back in the day when I was working with one of the majors. Fans don't really care about numbers. Artists care about numbers, right? That's why you don't see a lot of fans, even with the Spotify Wrap, you don't see a lot of fans like resharing that their favorite artist had 200 million streams. They don't care. But a fan, I've seen this working with artists. And you have the artist who goes and does an autograph line after a show and actually like will meet all the fans, everybody in line, sign whatever they want. Those fans walk away just like, oh my gosh. Versus the artist who does like a controlled meet and greet where they usher people through. The super fans love it. But a lot of fans walk away being like, whatever. They should be impressed because they get to go backstage and there's security and all this stuff. But they're more enthralled with the artist that they got to spend 10, 20 seconds with talking or getting their shirt signed or getting their shoe signed. The personal, emotional connection can trump anything. Anything. It's just the way it is. I go to places every single day that I walk in, they know me by my name. And it's not because I'm in the music industry. It's not because I was an A&R. It's because they've seen me enough that it's like, how are you doing? How are the kids? How's softball? How's the weather? You know? How's the car? Saw you got a new car. You go, man, they care. People are drowning in accounts. They're drowning in people constantly posting on Instagram. They're dying for a personal connection. They're dying to know that follow matters. It's just that simple. He says, is there still a lane where being human actually matters? I have a feeling that one day you're going to pull your grandkids around the fireplace and you're going to tell them the story about how you could have made it, but the big bad AI got in the way. The big bad AI. I could have had it. It was so close. But you know what? I decided to whine and complain about AI and artists doing 30,000 people a night, and I didn't build a personal, emotional connection with my fans. And I sent emails, which I appreciate the email, but I sent emails complaining about this stuff when I could have taken that time to build a personal, emotional connection with the people who follow me on social media and really started to see my numbers take off. But I wanted to blame AI instead. He says, because right now it feels like I'm showing up with a toolbox while the rest of the industry is building with cranes and automation. Look, you can't use another analogy because you were already running barefoot in a marathon against bikes and rocket ships. I bet you got a journal where you just like write, and then you go on dates and you want the person you're on a date with to read your journal. He says, I don't want to give up. Sounds like you do. He says, I just want to know what game I'm actually playing and if it's still winnable. If you sit on your butt and you blame AI and you blame major artists and you sit and whine and complain that everything's not fair and life happens to me, not for me, and woe is me, and you're Eeyore, then yeah, you're not going to win. You're not going to win anything. You'd be lucky if you got 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify with this attitude. He says, thanks for taking the time to read this email, Bob. Well, stop blaming AI. AI ain't going anywhere. It's these Bandcamp bros who blame Spotify. Like, Spotify ain't going anywhere. No matter how much you want to click your heels and hope and, everybody go to Bandcamp Friday and buy my single that you won't be able to play anywhere because you got an iPhone. No matter what you try to do, Spotify ain't going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. AI music isn't going anywhere. Now, what I do think the music industry should do is recognize that AI should have a different chart. Whether it be on Spotify, iTunes, Billboard, whatever, let AI music have a different chart. Don't have them compete with human artists. Okay, that is not fair. But for an artist to sit here and throw their hands up in the air because at the end of the day, I can't compete against a robot, it's just an excuse for you not to do the bare minimum, which is tedious, which does take time. But the rewards are huge. It's just an excuse for you. So if you want to sit and blame the big corporate media, or you want to sit and blame AI, you're going to lose. But if you want to take that time, take that energy, build personal emotional connections with people, you'll win. And you'll change people's lives. And you'll have people sitting here being like, what a great dude that is. But thank you for the email. Let me know how the battle against the robots go. But if you have a question on the music industry that you'd like for me to answer, just go to MatthewRix.com, click submit your question. Give me as many details as possible, and we will answer it here on the channel. I am Matthew Rix, and until next time, I will talk to you later.